Tell us, what is the value of addressable TV today? Obviously, we hear a ton about it. What should marketers know, especially when we're talking about right now and looking ahead to 2020? What's the kind of the state of addressable TV?
If I look at it through a marketer's eyes and not through a media or video or tech application eyes, but I look at through it practically, what it is for a marketer is ability for them to take their sharpest data insights and be able to fuse those with audience insights and have a hard line between understanding outcomes and actions. And at the root of that was having grown up in the agency business and seeing how really sharp marketers would get kind of crestfallen when they would give to their agency partners these tremendously detailed and rich profiles, a van full of insights, attitudes and usage studies, and just so much great sophisticated data about their clients. And about their customers. Marketers would have this phenomenal amount of data about their customers. And an agency would come back with an age, sex, demographic target, which was the sort of the homogenized buying and planning target, the evaluation target on efficiency. And you would always, see this crestfallen look from the marketer. Those days are over. You have the ability now as a marketer to take one of your largest recent investments, which is your tech stack, your data stack, really understanding about your consumer profile and being able to, tell everyone in your company, hard line between what the input was with respect to your data and investment and the hard line between customers, converting customers, getting trial, moving other outcomes. And so to me, it's an ability to sit there and say, we can now take the beginning, middle, and end part of the process of beginning to put, brand activation up to brand loyalty, and we can put metrics around it, and we can put some predictability around it. So to me, it really is, kind of the promise that we've been dangling to marketers for the better part of, decade? It's here.
It's actually reality.
Yeah.
Is one-to-one, TV advertising a possibility, or is that where it's headed then ultimately?
One-on-one's an interesting concept because I think that as an ideal, the ability to sit there and understand down to a really granular level what someone's preferences are, what their behavior is, and to be able to customize a message, I think that's great. But if you can't do that in scale, then it kind of falls apart, because ultimately what all marketers need is to fill whatever their sales channels are, however they distribute and however they ultimately activate. They need to fill those in scale, and they need to do that efficiently. And so to me, one-on-one is great if it's one-on-one in scale, if there's a scale of attention, if there is an ability to take that granular data, have a level of customization, offer different stimuli based on different behavior. But if I can't execute that efficiently in scale with real accountability about what happened and tie that back to outcomes, then one-on-one to a few as a marketer, that's not going to get my sales goals. My profit's not going to hit the goals I want. And I'll have done an excellent job against 11.1% of my consumer base. So it has to be one-on-one with real scale and real scale of attention.
Right. Otherwise, you're leaving opportunity, money on the table.
Exactly.
And so with that in mind, with the top of the funnel versus bottom of the funnel in TV, how do you strategize for both short-term, satisfaction, easy hit results, and, longer-term brand reach, brand building, brand loyalty that, TV can now kind of hit on both of those spectrums?
One of the great lessons that we've seen recently has been through the $4 billion of ad spend surge by the DTCs, who, someone would sit there and say, they're the ultimate bottom of the funnel, activate now, get the customers in, into the sites, into the sales channels. When you get to know them, they really do reflect what, current state television does so well, and that is full funnel all the time. If you've got a mindset as a marketer that says, not, okay, well, this specific execution and this strategy is to, activate X amount of customer growth to hit X short-term sales goal, you're not going to take advantage of the full power, because with the sight, the sound, the motion, the fact that people have an irrational attachment to a lot of the content they're watching, you have the ability to do your brand building. You have the ability to be aspirational, to be storytelling, to frame out, brand aspiration and things like that. All the while, at the exact same time that you're in that same 30 or 60 second execution or 6-second execution, whatever it should be, that you're efficiently filling the short-term piece. And I think that one of the lessons from the people who whose bread and butter is short-term activation is that they would never make a piece of advertising that wasn't working in the mid-funnel and the upper funnel simultaneously with the same dollar investment. And I think that's the beauty of what 2019 multi-screen TV does for advertisers. It does all three simultaneously.
Right. So when you take all that into consideration, how is data-driven strategy really reshaping the buy? Especially when you brought up DTCs, they're shifting money elsewhere off of Google and Facebook, and now TV is kind of being considered a potential performance media player.
Right.
How is that all shaping up?
Well, it's really interesting. If you were to take the longer view of things and not talk our industry jargon, you'd sit there and say, well, a while ago, a decade ago, we had these duopolies, these ad tech players, and they had this incredible data stack and tech stack, but they didn't have the content. Then you have these incredible content makers that didn't have the data. Well, and then a race essentially was on. And a lot would say that the people who had the phenomenal content have run so hard and come up with such a good tech and data stack that what it's showing is that you have the ability to take the best content, which is getting the best scale of attention. And now you're a marketer, and self-evidently over the last decade, you've put a ton of investment into your own first-party data. Well, now you've got a meshing device inside of the companies that also are producing the world-class content, putting it on a multi-screen. That's a phenomenal, it's kind of a phenomenal development over basically a decade. And I'm not saying race over, race won, but race well run by the folks who really took the ability to sit there and say, for the marketer, I'm going to continue to put world-class content, arm's length, moment's notice on every device, but also I'm going to run as hard as humanly possible so I can mesh their first-party data with the best-in-class data that I've got as a TV company. And that meshing together gets them to a place where they don't have to compromise between content, context, tech. They get it all.
Mm-hmm. With all of these things firing at once, for marketers, especially who are relatively new to TV and this channel and mode of advertising, what questions should they be asking essentially about addressable TV, advanced TV, what results they want to get, what customer they want to reach? What questions should they ask to get the right answers?
The first question they should ask is, how long should I do this? Mm-hmm. And the answer is quarter after quarter after quarter after quarter, and do it for at least a couple of years, because you need to understand the full funnel implications over what you're doing. And that's tough when, very often success is going to be measured on a quarter by quarter basis. But what you want to avoid is going into a medium that does such a beautiful job building a brand long term, building profit, building loyal customers. And yes, we want you to put short-term activation pressure on that medium because it fills sales channels incredibly well. But at the same time, we also want you to take the time to read some of those higher order outcomes. We want you to read the full funnel outcomes. So if I'm an advertiser and I'm thinking about addressable, what's the first question I should ask is, how long should I do this? And the answer has to be in years, and it has to start with an increment of 2 minimal, I would say, to get a first read over this effectiveness.
Mm-hmm. So that long reach has to have a longer breathing area.
I think you do the entire proposition a disservice by not really starting to understand what the larger implications of this kind of technology, the efficiency of, if you will, the stimuli to the customer over time. Things get shortlisted. There's purchase cycles. There's predispositions. Those take a while to materialize as actions that you may measure. So, and the other thing I would say to them is, in terms of measuring their outcomes, so first question and answer has got to be how long, and the answer is for a good while. The second is measure something other than just short-term website traffic or just sales traffic. Put that medium, put addressable TV on the hook for a full battery of outcomes and take the time to measure it well.